Once upon a time, there lived a man named Ali who worked at the village well, drawing water for the people. He claimed to be a holy man, always telling everyone how much he prayed, studied the Quran, and devoted himself to God. The villagers believed him and respected him as a sheikh, a wise and pious man. But the truth was far different. Ali was nothing more than a clever trickster who used his false reputation to deceive others. Every day, a beautiful young woman came to the well to fill her water pot. Ali noticed her and soon fell deeply in love with her. The problem was that she was already married and had a young son. One day, when her son came to fetch water, Ali refused to help him. He told the boy he was too small to carry such a heavy pot and insisted that his mother should come instead. The next day, the woman arrived at the well. Ali seized the opportunity and spoke to her boldly. He told her how beautiful she was and asked her to meet him secretly that night after dark. The woman didn't respond, but her mind was racing. She realized this man had fallen in love with her, but she loved her husband and had no interest in Ali. Still, she knew she had to be careful. Ali was wealthy and powerful, and she didn't want to make an enemy of him or create trouble for her family. That evening, she went home and told her husband everything. They discussed the situation carefully, worried about what might happen if they simply rejected Ali. After a long conversation, they came up with a clever plan to teach Ali a lesson without making him their enemy. The following morning, the woman returned to the well. Ali was waiting eagerly. He asked if she had thought about him and whether she would meet him that night. The woman smiled sweetly and explained that meeting at the well would be too dangerous because people might see them and tell her husband. Instead, she suggested something better. Her husband was traveling to another town that very day, she told him, so Ali should come to her house that evening after his prayers. Ali was thrilled. He believed she truly loved him, but then doubt crept into his mind. How would he explain this to his own wife? He never went out in the evenings, and she would certainly ask questions. Finally, he had an idea. That evening, after eating supper and saying his prayers, he told his wife that he needed to go out. When she asked why, he explained that some friends wanted to study difficult verses from the Quran and had asked him as a learned sheikh to help them. His wife was pleased and encouraged him to go. Ali hurried to the woman's house, his heart filled with excitement. The woman opened the door, wearing a beautiful dress, and invited him inside. She served him tea, then went to lock the door. This was the signal. Her husband, who had been hiding behind the house, heard the lock click and immediately ran to the door. He began pounding on it, shouting for his wife to open up and asking why the door was locked. Ali jumped to his feet in terror. If the husband found him there, he would surely be killed. The woman acted quickly. She pulled out a dress from her chest and told Ali to put it on so her husband would think he was just another woman visiting. Ali frantically dressed in the woman's clothes and covered his face with a scarf, just as the door opened. The husband entered, carrying a heavy sack of flour. He pretended to be surprised about returning home early, explaining that his travel plans had changed. Then he noticed Ali in the dress and seemed pleased to see his wife had help. He told Ali to pound all the flour using the mortar and pestle, saying it was too much work for his wife alone. Poor Ali had no choice. He sat down and began the exhausting work of pounding the enormous sack of flour. He pounded and pounded for hours, his arms aching, all the while wondering when this nightmare would end. When he finally finished, the husband gave him some money and told him he could leave. Ali ran all the way home, still wearing the woman's dress. His wife was shocked to see him dressed this way and demanded an explanation. Ali's mind worked quickly. He told her that while discussing the Quran with his friends, Satan himself had appeared and begun beating everyone with a stick. Ali had spotted the dress nearby and put it on, knowing that even Satan would be too ashamed to beat a woman. His wife believed every word and praised him for being so clever and knowledgeable. The next day, Ali returned to the well to work. Soon the woman appeared, smiling at him. She told him that last night had been unfortunate, but her husband was traveling again today, and he should come back that evening. Ali shook his head firmly. He told her he had no intention of returning to her house just to pound flour all night. If he wanted to pound flour, he said bitterly, he could do it in his own home. The woman went home and told her husband everything. They laughed together, delighted that their plan had worked perfectly. Ali had learned his lesson without becoming their enemy, and he would never dare trouble them again. Sometimes they realized the best way to defeat a deceiver is not with anger or violence, but with cleverness and a good sense of humor. Ali's false pride had been crushed not by confrontation, but by his own foolishness, and the couple had protected their love and their home with nothing more than wit and wisdom.